Welcome to Fiscally Fit, which is sponsored by Scholars Today, Leaders Tomorrow, and Wells Fargo. We're excited today because we have a show about multiple streams of income. So if you have ever said to yourself, I love my job or I hate my job, but it would be nice to have a little extra, this show is for you. We'll be going over the tips of how to start that additional stream of income where you could go from one stream to even 7 streams. So Shani, tell me a little bit. What does multiple streams of income mean to you?
Multiple streams of income, sometimes just like how you kind of just described someone who has, they might have a full-time job, but they also have what we sometimes call the side hustle or something else that they enjoy. A lot of people are able to take a hobby and build, and turn that into a business. I've also seen a lot of people where one business, say for instance, you look at your neighborhood McDonald's. At one point, you only knew them for a hamburger. Now you know them for French fries, you know them for shakes, you know this. So that is being able, what we used to call the bake sticky products, so that sometimes it doesn't take you to conceptualize a totally different business that has a totally different product line. You could actually build additional streams. Basically, in some cases, people refer to it as services up under your business. So that's probably the most effective multiple stream of income that I like to see.
I love the fact that you can actually start with one stream and then add on. So here it is, if you have a dream at home and you've always wanted to start your own daycare per se, you don't have to start the entire daycare in one day. Just start sitting for a few kids. And then from there, allowing it to grow. So right now, we want to talk about the bare bones, how to get those steps started. So Shani, what do you think are some of the first steps in terms of getting those multiple streams of income?
Probably for me, and it's different for a lot of different people, but some things that I've seen work personally for myself is just understanding my own passion and like how else would I like to present this passion? What other ways can I present this passion? So that's a really effective way that you can start to hone into other streams of income. What are you already doing, and how can I build upon what it is that I'd like to do more? So that's one way to do it. I've also seen other people where they might have a car wash, so on top of a car wash, they'll also add to that a wax service, or they might change it where not only they just have it where you can come to their, their storefront, but they'll do it a mobile service. So some people look at it in terms of just building upon the idea. What do you think about that?
I love building on the idea. Of course, today's show is a little bit more special because we're actually going to talk about our businesses. So you want to stay tuned until the end of the show. But just starting those ideas, starting to figure out what it is that your passion is, what it is that you love. And if you're having a hard time, asking friends and family. Very simple. Hey guys, what am I really good at? Your friends and family will help you see how great you are and what your talents are if you really need that help.
Right, and if you spend enough time with yourself, you'll be able to kind of, develop some of those things. I know people that, they have a full-time job being a paralegal, but they're really good at baking cookies, and sometimes they look in their budget and they're like, there's more month than money at the end of the month, and they don't like that. So they start baking cookies, so that's another way to kind of offset deficits in their budgets.
I actually have a friend who started a wedding planning business. She's working on her doctorate. So for those of you that are in school, right, she went ahead and got a certification as a wedding planner, and now she also bakes cakes. So this is an additional $1,000 a month that she's able to do while in school, while raising a child, and while doing everything else that she has to do.
Yeah, and another great thing about us being in the technology age is that you don't necessarily have to set up another entity, another
brick
business.
and mortar.
It's something, you don't have to do brick and mortar. You can actually, do things online. You can do small business. You can even do other services for someone else. Maybe you'll be the only person that picks up the telephone between this time, kind of like a concierge business. Like there's so many different things that you can do out there, especially in the economy and the technological age that we're in. If you can merge those two concepts together, they can work effectively for you.
One of the coolest businesses I heard of that was like, why didn't I think of this, was the bride runner. I know someone,
a bride runner.
What she does is help the bride on the day of her wedding. Just think about it. The maid of honor is there, but usually they're really concerned about themselves. So having someone that is making sure that you look your best, that you're on point, that you have all your necessities for the day, one day, and that's it. I just thought that was perfect.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I've never heard of the term bride runner is definitely a new term, but I've heard of day of, day of planning. Somebody, so actually, it's just taking things that you're already doing, renaming it, making it more sophisticated, making it more trendy. It really, really works in terms of building your multiple streams of income. Speaking of which, we're going to go ahead and bring in our special guest right after this break that's going to share with us his multiple streams of income. We're so excited to have him with us today. You stay tuned and you'll learn more about multiple streams of income.
Welcome back to Fiscally Fit. Our next guest is Andy Henriquez. This individual is loved by thousands, a professional speaker and communications expert. Now, I have known him to start a movement called the Show Up for Your Life movement, and it really all started from him being a CPA. So how does this journey really take place with multiple streams of income? Andy, please do share.
Thanks, Cassandra. So first of all, I've had an interesting journey. I started off as in corporate America, like many people, and made a transition to becoming an entrepreneur. Started off in real estate investing, and then found myself on the path of being a professional speaker. So it's been an interesting journey. I've enjoyed it throughout the process, and throughout the journey, I've learned some different ways to create some income, some multiple streams of income.
Okay, so with these multiple streams of income, can you share with us what are some of them? How does someone get started in terms of starting that first stream to make it into a river, to make it into an ocean? What did you do to get started?
Well, first of all, one of the issues is that most people, they don't recognize the fact that they can create additional streams of income, because we've been taught to think linear. If you want to create more income, then you normally need to work harder in your job or get a promotion or even get another job. One of my mentors,
many people like that. What's that 2% raise once a year? That's equal to $50.
Exactly. One of my mentors said that 2 jobs are for 2 people. So the question is, what is it that you have? What do you possess as an individual? Your skills, your talents, your experiences that you can leverage off of to create an additional stream of income. So for me, leaving corporate America, one of the things I started off doing was real estate investing. So I was having some success doing that, and I started doing seminars. I had some success doing the seminars, so I recorded those seminars and turned those into products. Not only turned them into products, but also created ebooks. And on top of that, started doing coaching. So here's one thing that I was already doing, which was investing in real estate. And I found a way to leverage it by doing seminars, by doing workshops, by creating ebooks and creating products. And that's one of the things that just about all the listeners can do if they really just take the time to assess what is it that they possess, the skills, the talents, and the things they have.
Yeah, because I'm even thinking about, someone who is an administrative assistant. Those are skill sets that you go to work and you employ every single day. Why not bring some of those skills home from you? Sometimes you can be, when you're dealing with multiple streams of income, it's a way to, create something totally different. Or again, as I said at the beginning, you can kind of build on something. So you take someone who's an administrative assistant, and since they actually get employed, at least 8 hours out of the day to answer the telephone, to send emails, to file paper, that's something that you can offer to people, a small business. I would even entertain you, because those are just something that you are really good at, and then you can add additionally to your income.
Absolutely, Shawnee. What's funny is most people hate doing administrative work.
Right.
But the issue is the person who is that administrative assistant sometimes just doesn't know how to position themselves to get paid.
Yes.
So it's interesting that you bring that up, because if someone's a administrative assistant or a virtual assistant, they can actually leverage off the internet. There's websites like elance.com, odesk.com, guru.com, in which they can create an actual profile, talk about the different services that they provide, and people who are not just within their state, but all across the United States and also in different countries can possibly hire them to do their social media.
Yeah, it's called virtual office.
Exactly.
They look at themselves as a virtual office. That's just one way. I mean, then there's housekeepers that, they employ themselves in the day. You
I
know?
actually have a girlfriend that started her own housekeeping business recently, where on the weekends she's going to friends and family's homes and making an extra couple $100 every single weekend and cleaning. Just think about all the people out there that are just too tired, or maybe they have something extra to do that they would love to pay you to clean their homes. Now, I know there are many people in terms of my culture, being from Jamaica, nurses, you know, that's a hardcore career, but some of the nurses, they're tired. The 12-hour shifts are getting so weak. They're getting weary. They're sick and tired of being sick and tired. So, Andy, what would you say would be a good way to start an additional stream of income for them?
Well, what's interesting is what most people think is when I want to create an additional stream of income, I need to abandon what I know, which is contrary to what you need to do. You actually need to say, hey, I've been a nurse and I've been a nurse for this many years. So how can I position myself as a nurse? What information, what experiences do I have that possibly could help somebody else out? I know there's a lot of nurses that when they first start off, they're not sure what track to take. Do they start off as an LPN? Do they go straight into nursing school? So could you possibly write a blog or an ebook that tells the nurse, you know, if you're looking to become a nurse, here are the 10 steps that you need to take in order to speed track yourself to becoming a registered nurse. And not only that, but a lot of professions, there's certifications that have to be done. So one of the things that you can do is position yourself to get qualified to be an instructor to certify people, which creates an additional stream of income.
Yeah, that's incredible. Those are incredible ideas. So while right now a lot of people feel like they're kind of like in a recession, they're in a crunch, they use those type of words, these are actually things that you can grab a hold to and kind of pull yourself out of where you think that you are. You can just use things that you already do on a day-to-day basis and just create another stream of income. Don't wait for anybody to release you. Don't wait for someone to send yourself a check. To send you a check, send yourself a check, you know?
You're right, Shawnee. Here are the facts, okay? 50% of households are literally have less than 1 month's worth of savings in case of a rainy day.
Yes.
And 61% of households are living paycheck to paycheck. The average credit card debt is just over probably about $15,000. So the question is, what makes an individual think that having one stream of income is going to change that situation around?
Right.
So we have to shift our mindset from that linear way of thinking to just think, hey, I need to make more money, so I need a second job. And what we really need to do is start asking ourselves, what are the skills that I have? What are the resources that I have access to? What are my experiences? And how can I leverage them to actually create some additional income? Whether it's going to be an ebook, a webinar, a seminar, selling things on eBay. I mean, there's so many different things. And like you mentioned before, it's just so important to access the internet and leverage the internet.
Yes.
So Andy, I know you actually did a teleseminar series on this exact topic. How would somebody be able to get a copy of this seminar?
So that teleseminar series that I did, it's they can find it on showupforyourlife.com, and that's all spelled out, showupforyourlife.com. And on the showupforyourlife.com, there's a store, and they'll be able to see previous teleseminars that I've done in order to equip people on how to create additional streams of income, on how to hit and accomplish their goals, and really how to position themselves to be better communicators and tell their story.
And how to basically show up for their lives. That's really, really good. Also, I kind of made a point where I was saying that, you know, basically there's a lot of people that kind of feel like they need rescue at this time. But there's also a lot of people that don't feel like they need rescue that can also tap into multiple streams of income because their idea is legacy. You know, there are people that, you know, they go to work or, you know, they have a business and they're making a sufficient amount of money to, you know, maintain and sustain their lives. However, in terms of legacy, when they're thinking about, you know, being able to pass on money, it's great for their lives. But when they start considering, okay, if I want to leave money to my grandchildren, that's sometimes while people who can sustain themselves financially starts looking into multiple streams of income. So this is not only for the person that kind of feels like, you know, I'm at the end of my month, I don't have enough money, but also for the person who feels like I want to build a legacy.
Yeah. And there's a lesson to be learned in that because the average millionaire has about 7 streams of income. And the reality of it is, it doesn't really matter how much money you're making. Let's say you're making, you know, $1 million, $2 million. If that one source of income cuts off, then what? Then you're pretty much, you have nothing.
Yeah.
So, you know, what we want to do is position ourselves so that we have income coming in from multiple sources. And at the end of the year, at the end of the month, it all adds up.
I like it. I like it a whole lot.
I really hope that this has gotten the wheels turning for most of you. We're going to be right back after this break.
And we are back with Fiscally Fit, talking about multiple streams of income. That is a way to basically enlarge your own bankroll. Whether you're already doing something that that you can make enough money doing, on your basic 9 to 5, or if you need to enlarge yourself by just building a greater legacy. You were telling us a little bit about Show Up for Your Life. What is that movement about, and how does it relate to multiple streams of income?
Okay. Well, the Show Up for Your Life movement, first of all, the reality is most people aren't fully showing up. In other words, most people aren't playing full out. And the reason being is they're not playing full out. They're not doing all that they should be doing in life. They are falling short of their goals. So the Show Up for Your Life movement is focused on two things. Number one, inspiring people to do all the things that they need to do, and also equipping them with strategies and techniques that's going to allow them to generate additional income and do the things that they need to do in life in order to truly, fully show up, as we call it.
Okay, give me some tactile things. Give me some takeaways.
So some takeaways is, like, for instance, effective goal setting. So we did a teleseminar on effective goal setting. Another thing is multiple streams of income. The other thing is how to effectively tell your story, how to communicate. How is it that you can look into your goals, your talents, your the things that you use on a daily basis, and how can you tap into those things in order to, one, expand your brand, and also to create some additional income.
Okay.
Talking about your additional streams of income, I actually know that you're a really good communications expert helping people with their story. Can you share a little bit maybe of a testimonial that you may have of one of the coaching clients that you've had in the past?
Yeah, sure. There's a gentleman that I've been working with right now that he had a very bad motorcycle accident. And for a long time, he's been asked at going to church and different organizations to really just share his story. But what he's realizing is that story that he has of getting hit by life is a universal story. So what we did is we tied a universal theme with it. And we used a Mike Tyson quote, which is that everybody has a game plan until they get hit. And I think a lot of the viewers right now can relate to that feeling of getting hit. So now he's been able to use that story in order to get access and go into different companies and go into different organizations in order to share that story, and he's getting compensated for it. So that's one of the things that I assist people with.
Okay, so that is a task for our listening audience. That's something that you can do yourself. You can actually sit down and think about your own story. You can think about, what is it about me that is relatable to other people that I've kind of been able to, share and empower others through it, is basically what this gentleman did. So he got what happened? He got into a car accident?
He had a bad motorcycle accident.
Motorcycle accident. And so, how many of you have been into a bad car accident? How many of you have just had negative experiences that's kind of like robbed you of your passion? And this is something that you can do. If they want to log onto your website, how can they do so?
So they can go to showupforyourlife.com. So it's spelled out just the way it sounds. It's showupforyourlife.com, and join the motivational movement. The motivational movement, it's driven by a free conference call that takes place every Thursday at 8 p.m., but they'll learn all about it by going to the website.
Okay. I've actually been on that call, which is really motivational. One thing I do know from Andy is that you've been doing this call for almost 2 years, and it's a new call every Thursday, never fail, always a new story with new motivation. Now, I must say that is amazing. Where do you find the gumption or the energy to do that? This is an additional way that's not getting you income? How does that work?
Yeah, is it a multiple stream of income?
It is an additional stream of income, because one of the principles that we share is that impact drives income. If you want to create additional income, first you got to create an impact. So one of the ways that I create an impact is by creating this free motivational call at 8 p.m. where people are able to tune in from all across the United States as well as from different countries. And what I hope to do is really just inspire them to get unstuck. But what will happen is people will hear me on that call and then will recommend me as a speaker for a seminar, for a workshop, as a keynote speaker. And I also coach many of the people who get on those calls, and I also do teleseminars and webinars, and one of them happened to be multiple streams of income, what we're talking about today.
Incredible, incredible. You got more questions?
I'm sitting here baffled. So I know Seth Godin, we talked about this in another show that talks about building a tribe.
Exactly.
So what even got you to start building this tribe? Here it is, a new person working at a job, now going to say, I'm going to be a professional speaker, let me build a tribe. How did you even get to say, I'm going to dedicate every Thursday to do this for 1 hour every single week. How do you keep on track with that?
Well, that's a great read. Seth Godin, Tribes, you got to read it. And what Seth Godin is talking about is we're in a new age right now, and everything is about creating relationships, creating connections, and creating a tribe. And that tribe is going to have a common interest, whatever it is. Many of the viewers right now, there may be something that they have a great amount of information about or something that they're interested in. And what they do is they identify people that they can provide information, content, and normally you start off for free, because we said impact drives income.
Exactly.
So once we start off by making an impact in people's lives, now they're willing to do business with you, now they're willing to take referrals from you, and now they're willing to help you to help them to create additional streams of income.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible.
So what I'm hearing right now is that for those of you who are at home who are thinking you need some extra income, you may actually need to spend some time thinking about how you could create that impact. And this has been really vital information, you know, in terms
and you know what, before we just interject, in what I've learned from you, Andy, I don't want to mess up your name, Andy, is that anyone can do this.
Absolutely.
You know, anyone, not, you know, even if you have a hurt story, even if you know, if you're a housekeeper, if you know, if you wash cars, all the way to people who have white collar jobs, to those that are working, you know, the basic 9 to 5s. There are ways to do this, and that's been really effective.
Yes, so hopefully you have gotten the tips and you've gotten the tools, but make sure that you stay tuned, because up next, Shani and Cassandra will be here to share with you a little bit of our multiple streams of income. Thank you, Andy.
And we're back with Fiscally Fit. We're still talking about multiple streams of income. Hopefully you have been taking some notes. Our last guest was really effective in telling you how to look within to find another level of income. Now me and Cassandra are going to talk about some of the things that we do to kind of expand our net worth. What are we doing to build our multiple streams of income? What are you doing?
Well, essentially, I started off with a women's luncheon series, you know, getting ladies together once a month during the summer to really start talking about something positive in their lives. And from that, I was able to create an audiobook from the actual conversation that we had. I was able to create a product, because one thing I know through professional speaking, it's always important to have a product. So this has been able to create a substantial amount of income for me just in professional speaking, and then coaching female entrepreneurs into helping their businesses. What about you, Shani? I know you have a lot going on.
One of the most important things that I would say in terms of just building a multiple stream of income is just making sure that I don't exhaust current income. That's probably what's one of the most consistent principles that I would say advocating, just making sure that what you already have as an income, that you don't exhaust it on things that you don't necessarily need. That is always first and foremost, number one on my list when it comes to not only building another stream of income, but making sure that you secure the income that you currently have. Something else that I'm doing when it comes to just necessarily taking information that I've had over 6 years of basically just understanding the real estate market, understanding the basic fundamentals of investing in your first property, buying your first stock. Basically what I did is I started to coach other women on how to do the exact same thing.
Smart.
Just basically taking the information, because a lot of the times, a lot of the terms, a lot of the jargon when it comes to finances can really be intimidating. They don't necessarily like it. So what I did is I used my company, Purse Empowerment, to begin to empower women on how they can basically, transcend some of the things that they don't know into actual dollars. Learning how to take financial terms apart and basically being able to profit from that information.
Beautiful.
So that's one of the things that I've been really effective in doing. The different women that I come in contact with in terms of how they were managing their money before they met me to now how they're managing their money. The biggest thing that I like to see in terms of impact, which our other guests talked about, is just looking at your budget and determining what are you doing with your money and why are you doing it and how long are you going to continue to do it. So the ability to kind of put that conversation in the faces of, you know, some people who were just my friends, people that I meet professionally, being able to do that has opened up multiple streams of income for me.
I love it.
So that's one of the things that I'm doing. Aside from just working on, you know, aside from my book, 10 Things Every Woman Should Keep in Her Purse, which basically just outlays the 10 steps that I took to basically reach purse empowerment. In the book specifically, I'm talking a lot about just managing what it is that you have. A lot of people just really don't take inventory of what it is that they have. So many people that I talk to, they always feel like they don't have enough. But when you look at their budget, they have more than enough.
Right.
It's just what they do with their enough.
Right. So one thing I found also through coaching my clients is that people aren't living a life that they love. You know, it's kind of they go to work, they come home, it's kind of like this hamster wheel over and over again, and they're not truly living out their full potential. They're not taking the time out to look inside themselves of what their possibilities are. So I mainly work with what is your purpose, where are you going, and how can you get there? You know, so if you've always wanted to start your own business, if you have no idea how to get your goals done, like one thing I've found through research is 90% of people who set New Year's resolutions never accomplish them. They absolutely forget about them by March. So I started an annual event called Resolutions, which now has evolved into a cruise and America's greatest personal development retreat. Actually, we have speakers that will touch on topics that will help people really set their year in order. And then from that, I've started a coaching group. So now I have a monthly coaching group to help these people, you know, stay on top of their goals, where they want to go, what is it that they're doing, and keeping them on top of it. It's like a monthly reminder. So one of the best things that I've found through my clients is having me as a coach and as their expert helps them to get things done. And just a quick testimonial, I have an individual that was trying for 10 years to start her own book, you know, so if any of you always wanted to become an author, never knew how. She had 10 years she was sitting there, I want to start a new book. But working with me within 6 months, she was able to write it and publish and launch her book to where now, a whole year later, she's about to launch her second book.
That's
so
incredible.
For that, it's just my whole being is to be a part of your testimony.
Right.
That's really it.
Just talking about, just to kind of piggyback on what the last guest was talking about in terms of just making impact, just finding a way to necessarily being able to fulfill a need. That's really how you develop another multiple stream of income, you know, being able to tap into people that's always wanted to do something and just not being able to do it, and you coming behind them and giving them that extra push. Not only are you doing something for yourself financially, but you're also doing something incredibly just for the person at large. You know, if it pays your pocket, that's great.
Right.
But the greater reward is being able to see someone actually live, you know, in the complete fullness of who they actually are. Right. You know, that's one of the rewards. It's not just, I mean, sometimes people are able to build businesses from things that they're not very passionate about. I typically is not that kind of person. I'm
Right.
typically going to find something that I really love and, you know, inspire people through it.
Thank you so much for sharing, Shani. And hopefully all of you at home have really started to learn the tactical tips of getting multiple streams of income. Make sure to stop by our websites, purseempowerment.com, inspiremany.com. Add us on Facebook and all social media. We're really here to help you become fiscally fit. See you on the next show.